Parthenax is Alduin's second in
Actually, it
command.
translates into Chris Pratt.
Parthenax is Alduin's second in command. He's his general. And Parthenax turns against Alduin and decides to teach the language of dragons to man. This is called Bethune, and it establishes the Greybeard Order. So basically, the dragon language isn't just a language. If you speak it with such like meaning and intent, you can actually cause physical changes. This, for example, is like dragon breath. It's caused by their words. And when men learn them, they take basically 3 words, form it together to make a long dragon shout. This is stuff like Fus Rada, which is the force, it pushes things away. Clear skies, which clears the weather. There's fire breath, ice breath, and shit like that. Basically, dragon words have like magical properties. And they use the Thume then to defeat the dragons.
That's what dragon shouts are.
That's what dragon shouts are.
I'm caught up in here. I'm with you guys now.
So, 3 powerful warriors, Atmoran warriors, or Nordic warriors. They basically get together. They have an Elder Scroll. And they're like, fuck Alduin, we want to kill him, but we can't kill him. So we're just going to send him later in time, because we don't want to deal with him right now. So they read from this Elder Scroll to banish Alduin, send him into the future, so that he's somebody else's problem, which is the plot of the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. So, a dragon named Calgrontied gathers his followers, and they flee south to elsewhere. This is Elder Scrolls Online lore. Technically a Howardian era retcon, but it's actually cool because it retcons Howardian retcons. So
yeah,
I'm fine with it.
I can't. What is this the game that we were playing?
Yeah.
Yes.
I want to play that again.
New DLC.
Very good. I'm playing through Elder Scrolls Online on my channel. If you guys want to check out the playthrough, link below.
Plug.
Plug
on your channel.
Plug on my channel.
Small time YouTuber. I don't think you know him.
Calgrontied and his followers flee to elsewhere, and they lord over the Khajiit. There is this warrior of the Khajiit called Kunzari, though, and he seals Calgrontied and his fellow dragons into the halls of the Colossus. So basically, similar to what the Nords did to Alduin. They didn't want to deal with him right now, so they're like, fuck off. Kunzari is like, I don't want to deal with dragons right now. Go in there, and now you're in there now.
Oh, that one fucking trailer that
This is the Elsewhere expansion for ESO.
I was so confused. I was like,
Dragon? Handy later.
Okay. I was so confused whenever I saw the trailer. I was like,
another Howardian lie. I'm going to cover this right now. Another Howardian lie is that dragons are extinct before Skyrim. Fucking wrong. Dragons are not extinct before Skyrim. They're extremely rare, but we have documented evidence of dragons literally in games before Skyrim. Not like mainline games like Morrowind and Oblivion, but shit like Redguard has a dragon in it, and we'll actually get to him because he's an important lore character. What are we looking at right now? Okay, so the Aliens start the Narfenzil Schism, which is basically, some aliens are like, we only worship the Aedra. Some aliens are like, we only worship the Aedra. Daedra worship is cringe. And if you remember, I'll give you a brief recap on the aliens. They're the Heartland Elves in the middle, in the jungle of Cyrodiil. There are other aliens, however, who are like, no, actually, Daedra are cool, and we worship them. And this religious schism is called the Narfenzil Schism.
I want the Mythic Dawn.
One Daedra-worshipping alien named Umaril the Unfeathered is half divine. And also, we're going to get into his name real quick. So, remember how I talked about bird people earlier? So, the aliens killed all the bird people, and alien nobility liked to wear feathers, like as to adorn themselves. And there was a really stupid fucking head theory in the Elder Scrolls community that aliens were bird people because in some fucking book they referred to aliens as feathered ones because they wore the feathers of the bird people. That is not true. It is just that aliens liked wearing the feathers of their prey, essentially. Anyway, yeah, Umaril the Unfeathered obviously doesn't wear feathers. He is also half, he's basically a demigod. He's a great warrior, and the Daedra gave his soul its own sliver of oblivion within which he could resurrect himself. So if you kill Umaril the Unfeathered, he just goes back to oblivion and recharges, and then he comes back. And Umaril is obviously a key warrior in defeating the Aedra worshipping aliens.
He said, bitch, you can't kill me.
Yeah. Okay.
But you can't kill me.
Aliens in High Rock. So remember, High Rock is up here, basically. Aliens in High Rock begin interbreeding with Needs. At this point, the Needs, who I mentioned earlier, the humans that came down to Cyrodiil, they're basically a slave race to the aliens. So aliens in High Rock begin interbreeding with Needs, and this makes the half-elf race of Bretons. We're going to get into half-breeds real quick. So, in the Elder Scrolls, when there's an interracial relationship, the child is supposed to always be the race of the mother. That is established canon because Todd Howard is lazy and doesn't want to make half-breed races playable. However, you've got stuff like the Bretons, which are literally half-elves that exist. You've got certain characters in more, and I'm not talking about like aeons ago. There was a character named Umagu, and he was half Dunmer or whatever. I'm talking about like there is a character in the fucking second era who is a half elf. It's not like he went through generations of interbreeding. He was a half elf. So shit's weird like that. That will be an inconsistency.
He just doesn't want to make it.
Yeah.
He just didn't want to make more playable characters.
Basically, yeah, I mean basically.
Slaves to that one.
So around this point, the sort of last big thing that happens in the Merethic era is the Cameron dynasty is founded by King Elpar in Valenwood. And he basically says, okay, why are we not recording like dates and shit? That's super weird. We should come up with a dating system. So King Elpar makes a dating system and claims, okay, when I founded the Cameron dynasty, that is year 1 of or year 0 of the first era. So now we're beginning the first era right now. We're starting
We have dates.
Yes, we have dates now, people.
Yeah!
We finally made it.
Thank God.
The aliens, so now, okay, so basically you've got the Altmer here and the aliens here, and then there were Bosmer here, but they were just hippies. Like they didn't really have a kingdom or anything. So basically the aliens were like, yeah, we still worship, or we still obey your orders, Somerset. But then a brand new kingdom sprouts up right in between Somerset and Cyrodiil. And basically the aliens are like, well, now that there's not a direct line of communication between us and the High Elves, fuck them, am I right? Like, we didn't even need them anyway. So the aliens basically break off from Altmero's rule.
What was the kingdom that sprouted in between them? I bet it was one.
It was the Cameron dynasty. Yeah, and Valenwood. Yeah, so the White Gold Tower now becomes an independent city-state. It is what will eventually become the Imperial City, but it's built on the 8 islands in the center of the Nibinebe. And that is where the aliens reign from. The first era. We're here. We made it. We made it to the first era. Okay.
Thank God, we're inundated.
So, first era, year 20. The Psijic Order appears. The Psijic Order are a group of high elf wizards that reside on the Isle of Artaeum. Artaeum is not on this map. It's supposed to be somewhere right here. The reason it's not on this map is actually a very good reason. It disappeared.
Bull.
It's not there anymore.
Yo, I bet it's the same thing that happened with those guys down there.
I was about to say, unlike with Aldmeris, we actually know why it disappeared. Basically, we know why it disappeared. It was intentional, essentially. At this point, the Breton sage Vornay writes of his trip to Artaeum, which is the island of the Psijic Order zone. He meets with the Councilors of Kings and the Right Master of the Psijics, and he's just basically recording this history. This also makes him one of the earliest known Bretons in history, like to actually get out of High Rock, because like that was unheard of before. I actually don't know how he got all the way down to Artaeum. I don't know what the fuck he's doing down there, but
He was just wizarded.
yeah. Okay. First era, year 68. 2 more Atmoran ships land in Skyrim, marking the final large wave of Atmoran immigration. High King Harald of Windhelm, 13th of Ysgramor's line, born in the first era, year 113. He is born then. In year 140, his forces attack the last stronghold of the dragon cult, Forlhost. The cultists commit ritual suicide via contaminating the water, resulting also in the deaths of many of its attackers. But the dragon cult is completely driven out of Skyrim now. 3 years later, Harald is crowned the first High King of the Nords. He declares Skyrim an independent kingdom with Windhelm as its capital. In the first era, year 184, he calls for the first moot of the Nords. It's basically like, okay, you guys all have your cities now, you're my jarls, and this is how we operate now. Okay, basically lays out Skyrim government.
Does that still apply whenever you play Skyrim?
Roughly, yeah.
Roughly.
Yeah. The first era, year 198, marks the Scouring of Windlebeck, which is when the Narfenzil Schism came to its climax at the city of Windlebeck. It ended with the organized opposition of Daedra worship being completely driven out. So now the Aedra worshipping aliens were driven out by the Daedra worshipping aliens, and they resided in Argonia, which is the land of the Argonians now. We don't know what happened to them. It's assumed that they all died. Because Argonia is just a fucking marshland with weird lizard people there.
And those trees.
Yeah.
Long live Argonia.
In the 200th year of the first era, Kosi writes the Tamrillian Tractates, describing an account of the first contact between Bretons and Nords, mentioning what is believed to be the earliest recorded ancestor of House Tharn, which is an imperial house, Thoranus U. Redhand, believed to be basically the progenitor of the House Tharn line, which will become very important. I know right now that fucking means nothing, but later the Tharns will become a very big part of the plot.
More like a thorn in my ass.
Yo!
First era, year 221, King Harald dies at the age of 108.
Dang.
The next year, King Hjalmar, firstborn of Harald, dies and is replaced by his brother Vraj the Gifted. From 222 to 272, the Nords expand across Morrowind and High Rock, basically going east and west, swallowing up a lot of territory along the northern coastline. In 1E 242, Alessia, also known as the Slave Queen, leads a rebellion of fellow Medes against the Aeolian Empire, with the help of the Nords and some Aeolian rulers. They eventually conquer Cyrodiil. In the following year, 243, the Alessian Empire is founded after the rebellion takes over the White Gold Tower. In the fight, Pelennor Whitestrake and Umaril the Unfeathered kill each other. So you remember both of those? Like basically, Pelennor Whitestrake is slain by Umaril the Unfeathered, but Umaril later dies to his wounds. And this wasn't an even fight as well, because Umaril the Unfeathered sent like hordes of warriors to deal with Pelennor Whitestrake. So Pelennor was operating at like 15% of his power when he was slain by Umaril.
Okay, but is the unfeathered guy came back?
Yes, exactly. So the Umaril the Unfeathered died. He's rebuilding his soul right now. Yes.
I think that's what I was.
Okay. All right.
Make sure that he was the guy that was
This also a good friend of Pelennor Whitestrake is a human demigod of Kine named Morihau. He's also known as the Man Bull, because he can change into like a bull or like a half bull form. I want to see. Okay. The Aelids are scattered. They are scattered to the four winds, basically. Those loyal to Alessia remain as vassals in Cyrodiil, because there were some noble Aelids who remained, who basically supported the rebellion. They get to remain as vassal kings in Cyrodiil. The Durini in High Rock invade, the Durini clan of Aelids in High Rock, they invite Aelid refugees to join them there. And other Aelids flee to the Cameron dynasty in Valenwood. The newly founded Alessian Empire dominates Cyrodiil now. Alessia establishes the religion of the 8 divines, fusing the pantheons of the Nords and the Cyrodiilic tribes. And basically, okay, we're getting to that later. Okay. Morihau, the Man Bull, who I mentioned earlier, he mates with Alessia, and they produce the modern-day Minotaurs of Cyrodiil. In the first era, year 246, the city of Daggerfall is founded. The northern half of the Iliac Bay is conquered and roughly civilized by Nords. In the first era, year 266.
You want to point out where Iliac Bay is?
Yeah, we've done it before. It's right there between High Rock and Hammerfell.
Gotta make sure.
Okay, I have a question. Is there like a time period about how long it takes for the unfeathered bitch to like regenerate?
No, it generally considered, because Daedric princes, when a Daedric prince dies, they just start regenerating in Oblivion, basically.
Yeah.
And we know at the very least, it takes more than 200 years for a Daedric prince to regenerate, because even Mehrunes Dagon is not fully regenerated by the time of Skyrim, and he died in Oblivion. So, we know that it takes at least 200 years. It probably takes a lot longer for Meridian Feather. I'm talking like thousands of years. So dying for him, it's not just like a walk in the park. Like, it has consequences. We won't see him for a while.
Okay, another question. So, do they just assume that he's, like, the Unfeathered is dead?
Yeah, they don't know that he can do that. They don't.
Like, I'm like, in society, they don't think he's coming back.
Yeah, exactly. They don't think he's the threat anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just like,
they
how
don't-
would they know?
Yeah, they don't know that he can do that.
I had that like the little audio in my head, like how would they know?
So yeah, in 266, the dying Empress Alessia is transformed by the god Akatosh. So basically, she's on her deathbed, and the body of time, Akatosh, the dragon god, descends down and makes her the first of the Cyrodiilic saints, and ascends her up to Aetherius. Her line, she then in that moment becomes the first dragonborn, infused with the blood of Akatosh, given the amulet of kings, all that bullshit. Alessia is the first true dragonborn. Mirik is not. That is the canon I choose to
And
accept.
killed
personally.
Alduin. I could have done
So
that.
yeah,
if I
she
was
becomes
stupid.
she becomes the first dragonborn, and her soul gets infused into the ruby, which becomes the heart of the amulet of kings, which is an amulet worn by all of the emperors later down the line.
That was fun.
This is the beginning of the alliance between the Imperials and Akatosh. Basically, while this ruby gem is worn, and while there's like some fucking fires, dragon fires in the Imperial City, which used to be the White Gold City, it's now the
Like
Imperial
the
City.
flame.
Yeah, they have to have those flames lit, and as long as that happens, Tamriel is completely protected from Oblivion. So theoretically, Oblivion princes couldn't just come and fuck shit up.